The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Monday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And finally, we had a nice weekend, right?
Yes, I mean, Saturday morning you were thinking of the rainfall. It was going to be another washout. Yeah, it dried out nicely. Beautiful weather for any outdoor festivities over the weekend. Yeah. And probably a similar story today. It starts out rainy. It's going to gradually dry up. In fact, a live look outside in downtown Utica. A damp start to your Monday morning. Something else to mention, too. It is in the low 60s, but there was some pretty decent winds, at least for me walking into work this morning. It was I was holding on to my hat. Well, I don't really have a hat on, but you know the saying here. Still muggy conditions. We're not out of this somewhat more humid weather pattern. So because of that, overnight lows aren't going to fall too much when there's a little more moisture in the atmosphere. So you can see here across central New York, 57 Hamilton, even 61 up in Saranac Lake. Now here's a look at the radar scans right now. We got some heavier rainfall north of the Mohawk Valley, as well as some rain bands passing through Otsego County. I know for a lot of you, it's not really wanting to experience right now after all that heavy rain you experienced late last week and into the weekend. This is shifting its way north, and following this initial round of moderate heavy rainfall, we're going to actually dry up a little bit this afternoon. Temperatures peaking in the upper 60s, low 70s. We are tracking some more rainfall, even some thunderstorms around or after sunset tonight. And we'll track, of course, more rain chances throughout the week. Will they be washouts? Will they be just sporadic rainfall? The details in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away. The air quality alert for the central New York region ended at midnight. The thick wildfire smoke from Canada blanketed the region for most of the weekend. The hazy skies weren't limited to here in Utica, though. Cooperstown and Oneonta also seeing reduced visibility. It's all the result of several wildfires burning in central Canada. The New York State DEC warned that fine particulates remained in the area through midnight last night. New this morning, pretrial proceedings are expected to begin today.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise. The time now is 5:10. Happy Monday, everyone. Similar to what we saw on Saturday, rain showers started your day and then things actually dried up. And today, a similar story. We begin with some rain showers across the area. In fact, some locations, some minor ponding on roadways due to the amount of rainfall falling in that short span. Here's a look at some area roadways early today, and again, some other spots here, some minor ponding. The traffic tracker picking up on basically just a few minor slowdowns, but other than that, no incidents to report of, and mainly green across the board. So here's the radar. Again, the heaviest rainfall taking place north of the Mohawk Valley. This is, of course, shifting more north. Those of you in northern Herkimer and Hamilton counties are going to start seeing more of that rainfall moving in, as well as those in the southern valleys. That's going to slowly push east into Fulton and Montgomery counties. So today, a rainy start. Watch out for some ponding, but then things dry up this afternoon with temperatures in the low 70s. We are tracking some more rainfall and even some thunderstorms later on this evening, likely around or after sunset. We're going to break down the timing of it, as well as have more on that rainfall forecast for the next few days and coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Around 250 runners and walkers laced up there.
The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. We are tracking some rainfall early today, but much of the actual wind down throughout the morning. A live look in Cooperstown early today, a damp start to your work week, and so far, temperatures not really that cool. Upper 50s, low 60s, the common trend across the area. And also across the area, Some rainfall. Let's zoom into the heavier rainfall taking place north of the Mohawk Valley, including the town of Ohio. We have Newport, Salisbury, Trenton, Remsen, Western, all included in that heavier rain. You will see a slight lull in the rainfall within the next 20 to 30 minutes as that dry slot moves in. Southern valleys, Edmiston, Morris, Milford, Cooperstown, you've got some rainfall moving in right now. On and off, moderate or light to moderate rainfall for the time being. So what this rainfall is doing, it is helping air quality today, but it's also the wind that's going to help air quality. We're going to get more of a south to an easterly wind the next few days, and that's going to push away a lot of that wildfire smoke. And even if we might see some passing remnants of it in the upper atmosphere, this will be a lot less noticeable compared to this past weekend with how thick that smoke likely was. And as a matter of fact, the image I was going to show here must not have made it into the show. I'll show it in the next half hour, though. But what I want to show right now is the expected rainfall the next couple of days. So this is what we expect heading into Tuesday morning. And you're probably wondering, well, we got drier weather this afternoon. Why are we seeing so much more rainfall? We've got periods of rain between now through Wednesday that they're not going to be steady all day long, but they're going to be producing a good amount of rain when they fall. And some of those spots here you can see picking up an inch or so of rain. Inch and a half in Camden, likely on the high end of things here, with even more possibly following it. And this is all driven by this cold front that sweeps through, and actually a series of cold fronts that move through the area. So because of that, the rain will not be as steady, but still heavier at times. So we dry out today. Near after sunset, here comes that rainfall moving in. Likely what's going to happen is because it hits sunset, these storms are going to weaken. Still rumble of thunder is possible, and then some rainfall enters into early Tuesday morning. Then, by around noontime, things dry out. We'll see another round of rainfall arrive by the mid-afternoon and into the early evening. Things dry out again. Wednesday is actually looking not too bad, with temperatures climbing slowly into the upper 60s, low 70s. Maybe a patchy light drizzle, otherwise mainly sunny skies. And so your 7-day forecast, we got temperatures in the 70s for your Thursday and for your Friday. Same story, maybe an isolated shower, but overall the weather pattern remains mainly dry until we enter the weekend next weekend, with temperatures a little bit cooler in the 60s. We're not out of the woods with rainfall again, but at least as long as we get to these periods of dry weather, we can kind of catch up to that massive amount of rainfall we've experienced the past few weeks.
And today's not a rain out, right?
Yes, no washout today.
That's for sure. Eric, thanks. The time right now is 5:19. Still a morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Liberatore. After quite the weekend weather-wise, what's in store for us here on this Monday? Meteorologist Eric Gage in the Weather Center. And Eric, right now, it's a little bit of rain, right?
Yeah, a little rainy this morning, but a sign like we saw today. Temperatures begin to climb. We'll actually see some peaks of sunshine. Outside downtown Utica right now, temperatures are in the 60s, so it's a pretty mild start today with some increased humidity as well. On top of that, we are also tracking some rainfall, but again, that rainfall begins to end throughout the morning as this initial rain begins to exit. Still, though, across the state, temperatures are in the 50s and low 60s. That widespread rain moving its way north right now, impacting north of the Mohawk Valley, as well as some pockets south of the Thruway and south of Route 20 in the southern valleys. So the overall trend of this is it's continuing to shift its way north. Following the early morning rain today, things again dry out. We climb to the upper 60s, low 70s, a seasonable day across the area. By tonight, though, around sunset, we'll see a round of rain, even some thunderstorms potentially, as a cold front moves over our area. And then we'll be tracking some more rain chances the next couple of days. As well, we're going to talk about that wildfire smoke, where it comes from and how much more is expected in our area as we head in the middle of the week in that full forecast. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. About 300 National Guard
2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. The Oneonta is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Monday morning. Our photo of the day today takes us to Herkimer. Shout out to Herkimer this morning, and a photo of a rhododendron. This is a photo I haven't seen yet, but now, of course, with early June popping up, these flowers are also popping up in full force. Quite a few homes I've passed by recently have some very vibrant rhododendron outside their homes. So again, shout out to Herkimer, and this is quite a beautiful plant you got here. And if you have a photo like this you'd like to share with us, send it to the link right there on the top of your screen, wktv.com/weather/pics. So when it comes to our forecast today, again, as I mentioned, it starts out a little rainy. Things are going to progressively dry out throughout the day today. There will be more opportunity for some rain the next few days. Not steady, but on and off, rounds of rain, I should say, and some thunderstorms as well. These are going to be heavier rainfall chances. Then, as we head throughout Tuesday night, things dry up. And then you look right here, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, maybe an isolated light shower, but much of the end of the work week is looking to be dry. Temperatures cool down a little bit as we head into the weekend, upper 60s, maybe some rain chances as well. But we're going to break down the timing of the rainfall for Monday and Tuesday, as well as break down where that wildfire smoke is coming from in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Sunday marked the last day of the 3-day...
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. We are tracking rainfall moving through parts of our area right now. Heavy at times, but it's going to gradually lighten up throughout the next few hours. Live look in Cooperstown. Early today, temperature sitting at 58 degrees. A lot of central New York waking up to either the upper 50s or low 60s. And here's that rainfall right now. The heaviest of it is now entering the border of Herkimer and Hamilton counties, north of Ohio and parts of Route 8. Into the Adirondacks. To our south, that rainfall that was there in parts of the southern valleys now pushing its way to our north and to our east. So, excuse me, we have been experiencing that wildfire haze for the past couple of days, and here's a bit of a meteorology lesson here for how we detect some of these as well. This is using a unique band for the satellites that we have way up in the sky. And if you can look closely on the screen here, let's zoom in. You can actually see the wildfire here in Canada. It's pretty large. You can see the fires from space. And that's what was taking place this weekend. And of course, you have favorable winds, and that pushes into our area. But this is nothing like what we saw 2 years ago, 2 Junes ago, I should say, where the air quality here in New York State was the worst in the world. We did have some impacts over the weekend, but it was nothing tremendously bad. Still, though, we're going to see a bit less wildfire smoke the next few days as we get more of a south and easterly wind. And although wind direction does shift later on in the middle of the week, I don't think there'll be a high impact when it comes to the wildfire smoke, maybe elevated, faint smoke way up in the atmosphere. So the next few days are not complete washouts, but some locations will pick up 3/4 of an inch, inch and a half of rainfall. These are going to be some pretty heavy rain showers if they do sustain their strength when they reach our area. In fact, this morning, and there were some downpours that were not really heavy, but they were pretty decent amount of rain was falling there. This afternoon, clouds turn to some peaks of sunshine. At around or after sunset, showers and thunderstorms roll through the area. And then by tomorrow morning, widespread rain for your morning commute. We dry out by the early afternoon, and then we'll see the arrival of a few more scattered showers and thunderstorms. Then Tuesday night, things dry up, and then we'll actually see pretty dry conditions for much of Wednesday with highs in the low 70s. So again, today and tomorrow, rounds of rain, not widespread rain, or steady rain, I should say. And then following that, of course, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, sunshine moves in and temperatures in the low 70s. We'll be right back.
The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Monday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And as you head outside this morning, you might need an umbrella, at least for the early part.
Yes, rainy start today. Hold on to your hats, too. It's a little windy out there this morning as well. In fact, a look outside right now, we are witnessing some rainfall passing through parts of Utica and some ponding on the roadways. The rainfall earlier this morning was a little heavy at times, but either way, it is still a pretty damp start to your day. Temperatures sitting at 60 degrees, cloudy skies. Again, that rainfall tapering off a little bit. Still a little windy and still a little muggy out there. And that's why the temperatures aren't falling all too much overnight. You can see here upper 50s, low 60s for pretty much all of upstate New York, going from Buffalo all the way down to Poughkeepsie. So today, the rainfall is the story for the morning, but we'll see drier weather for the afternoon as that initial round of rainfall shifts its way north and to the east. We'll have a bit of a dry slot moving in east of Syracuse. So this morning is going to be a little damp. As Gary mentioned, keep that umbrella handy. By around 10 to noon time, things dry up. Temperatures peak in the upper 60s to low 70s. But by sunset tonight, more rain does arrive. It could be in the form of some thunderstorms. And we have more rain chances the next couple of days. We'll explain whether they'll be steady or if they'll be just sporadic rainfall and if there's dry weather on the horizon coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. The air quality alert for the central New York region ended at midnight. Thick wildfire smoke blanketed the area for most of the weekend. The hazy skies weren't limited to here in Utica, though. Cooperstown and Oneonta also seeing reduced visibility. It's all the result of several wildfires burning up in central Canada. The New York State DEC warned that fine particulates would remain in the area through midnight last night. New this morning, pre-trial proceedings are
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Time now is 6:10 on this Monday morning. As you head out to work today, keep that umbrella handy. It's going to be a bit of a rainy one to start your day. A live look at some area roadway cameras here from the DOT. You can see here, of course, some minor ponding on some roadways, but for the most part, the rainfall is gradually lightening up. The traffic tracker picking up still on a lot of green across the area. By the way, there is an accident reported on the thruway heading out to Albany. However, it is in the westbound direction, so this will not have any impact if you were heading to the capital region today or anywhere in parts of, say, Montgomery County. So today, that's the only accident reported so far on our traffic tracker. So the radar showing that heavy rain pushing its way east into the capital region in the next couple of hours. And then, of course, for us here locally, aside from some clouds and lingering light rain, it begins to dry up as we head into the early part of this afternoon. Temperatures climb into the low 70s. We are still looking at more rainfall around or after sunset. So we're not out of the woods with rainfall following this morning. In fact, we have more rounds of rain between now and Wednesday. We're going to break down those times coming up in just a couple of minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Around 250 runners and walkers.
Swell your day. Watch for the Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast and be ready for your drive to and from work. The Storm Tracker 2 Commutecast is brought to you by the Pratt Munson College of Art and Design. Visit Pratt Munson today and ignite curiosity and creativity.
I just have one question for you. Did you just your ticket yet?
The Oneonta Cam is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Happy Monday, guys. Weekend turned out really nice weather-wise. Yeah, we had to deal with wildfire smoke, but it was thankfully not nearly as bad as a couple of years ago, and I'll explain why in a couple of minutes. First off, live looking Cooperstown early today, 58 degrees. A lot of spots here locally waking up to upper 50s and low 60s. The radar also tracking that rainfall, and some of these showers here are pretty heavy entering Hamilton County right now. We zoom in. What was once a spot of heavy rainfall at 5 a.m. is now just some lingering lighter rain in parts of Salisbury, Newport, Trenton, pretty much all along the Route 28 and Route 12 area in northern, or I should say central Herkimer County. Then to the south, clearing up. Edmiston, Milford, Morris, starting to see drying conditions. So this weekend, yes, Saturday morning was pretty rainy, but it's been relatively dry for much of the area for the rest of Saturday and Sunday. We had to deal with some wildfire smoke, and a couple of years ago, in June of 23, you remember how bad that wildfire smoke was? Those are wildfires out in this part of the region of Canada, and the winds were directing at south directly over us, and there were a lot of fires. The wildfire smoke originated from here. You can see it from space. It's a pretty cool technology we have with the satellite features that they can detect the fires based off the temperature of the surface using different wavelengths. So these are the fires here, and the right wind conditions push that smoke into our area. And that's what we expected from this system. And on top of that, with the way this next system is moving in, we're going to see a bit less of that smoke. Southeast winds push in. We're going to see some clearing, maybe a few more rounds of some wispy cloud or wispy smoke way up in the sky, but impact air quality a lot less now compared to over the weekend. So we are tracking some more rounds of rain the next couple of days. These showers, although they won't be steady, will produce a good amount of rain inside them. In fact, this morning, same story. We've got that rainfall moving in. We dry out. Another round of showers and thunderstorms this evening. They push east, they weaken a little bit, more sporadic rainfall Tuesday morning, drying out by the early afternoon Tuesday, and then just shortly after, some thunderstorms and showers pushing through the area by 5, 6 p.m. Then we dry out and things look pretty quiet heading into Wednesday. So again, rounds of rain the next few days and a good amount of rainfall in some of these pockets. Some areas ranging from maybe half an inch to inch and a half of rainfall. But then we dry out. We won't see too much rain in terms of nothing notable until maybe the weekend. So pretty nice end of the work week.
Yeah, we'll definitely take it, that's for sure. Eric, thanks. Happening this week, the Marquee Inn, and thank you for joining us for this half hour. I'm Gary Libertor, and after quite the nice weather weekend, what's in store for us here on this Monday? Meteorologist Eric Gage in the Weather Center, and Eric, as we mentioned right now, it's at least rain.
Yeah, rainy start today. Temperatures in the upper 50s, low 60s, and another thing with that too, it's also a little windy out there. A live look outside in downtown Utica. Rain currently falling right now. Temperatures are in the upper 50s, low 60s early today. And another thing too, it's also a little muggy out there. That humidity hasn't really broken all too much recently. So because of that, those temperatures overnight, due to that high humidity, aren't really expected to fall too much. Upper 50s in the Mohawk Valley, same thing in Hamilton. Pretty much all of upstate New York waking up to this same temperature. So it is a pretty mild start to the day. And again, a little rainy start. We're going to see a few more rounds of rainfall between now and say 9, 10, 11 a.m. before things will eventually begin to dry out. You can see here this northeasterly wind that is, or the southwesterly wind, I should say, that is carrying that rainfall to the north and east. So today, expect rainfall to taper off, sunshine to move in, hit or miss, but mostly cloudy skies expected today and high temperatures in the low 70s. We dry out before more rain is expected this evening around sunset. We'll time it out, plus the additional rain chances the next few days in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks, and don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. About 300...
One question for you. Did you get your ticket yet?
The Oneonta Camp is brought to you by Semicron Danfoss.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Monday morning. Our photo of the day today takes us to Herkimer. Good morning to Herkimer, everybody. We begin with this shot here of a rhododendron. And it's been quite a while since I've seen a photo like this submitted to us. Now entering, of course, rhododendron season. And driving all my travels the past couple of days, seeing a lot of houses with some very, very vibrant ones here. I think a lot of the rainfall in much of May really helped out with the blooming of these flowers. Either way, thank you to the viewer who submitted this photo. And if you have one you'd like to submit to us, you can send it to wktv.com/weather/pics. So the weather today starts out a little rainy. As we head throughout the afternoon, things will gradually dry up. We have more rain arriving later on tonight, and then right around sunset. Then tomorrow, rain to start, rain in the mid-afternoon, and then we get to dry out a little bit Wednesday through Friday. So again, to start the week, we have that timing of that rainfall and the amount of rain we could expect coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Sunday marked the last day of the 3-day
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
It's a rainy start to your Monday after a pretty nice weekend, of course, aside from that wildfire smoke, which we'll talk about in a little bit. First off, our tower cam showing some breezy conditions up here on Smith Hill and Deerfield. We can barely see the city skyline with all that light rainfall taking place right now. It's a damp start to your day today, and temperature-wise, upper 50s, low 60s, not too bad. The radar picking up on that on and off rainfall early this morning. The heaviest of rain has exited our area. Those of you in northwestern Oneida County, just on the outskirts of Rome and farther to the west, you'll see another round of moderate rainfall within the hour there. But the rest of us, you can see here, more moderate rainfall in Ohio, Newport, north of Salisbury, and drying conditions for the most part in the southern valleys. Will be an isolated shower moving in just a few minutes. So, wildfire smoke time. 2 years ago, we had the worst air quality in the world because we had so many wildfires ignited from lightning up north of us, and the prime wind conditions sunk all that smoke into our area. The wildfires smoke we saw over the weekend was from this fire. You can actually see it here on the satellite feeds. It's something pretty cool we have. We can actually use a certain wavelength in the micrometer bands to detect fires from these cameras out in space, and they detect mainly the emissions from it as well as the temperature. And you can see there, pretty obvious where those fires are. And you get those right conditions for those winds, they move it into our area. The winds will not be supporting more wildfire smoke the next few days, as we'll get more of a southwest or southeasterly wind, as you can see here. Things clear out for the next few days. Yes, there could be a brief round of some elevated smoke in the skies, but much of that smoke is going to be over and done with for the near future. But we're trading that smoke away for rainfall. Now you can see here there's a good amount of rain falling the next few days for parts of the area. Again, this is not a widespread soaking rainfall, so the amounts will vary tremendously depending on location. But the main story is there's going to be rounds of rain. So here's the first round of rain. We actually dry out this afternoon with more rain arriving in the evening around sunset and lingering in the overnight. Widespread rain to start your Tuesday. We dry out by the late morning with sunshine, and the round of rain and thunderstorms move in by the mid-afternoon around 3 p.m. Tuesday before things will eventually dry out again, and then we'll see some sunshine and quiet weather for your Wednesday. 7-day forecast. The work week this week favors upper 60s to low to mid 70s. Pretty nice stretch of weather here. And again, Wednesday through Friday looking really nice. Plenty of sun here and there, but keeping a close eye on the weekend. We'll see if it shapes up to be rainy or sunny. But for now, we'll look at the nice weather for later on in the week.
Yeah, even later today.
Yes.
Eric, thanks. The time right now is 6:54. Still ahead, one joining us now. And Eric, things seem to be drying out after a rainy morning.
Yeah, that's right. Things are looking a little more on the drier side today. We will have some more showers and storms to watch later on this evening, but we'll enjoy the window of sunshine coming up in a few hours. Here's a look outside right now from our area cameras, and again, it's still rather cloudy out at this point, but out to our west is where the sun is starting to peek out, and with that in mind, the temperatures are climbing. So the rainfall from this morning was from a warm front, and I guess the name says it all. Finally, following a warm front, we'll see warmer temperatures. But there are some rain showers out in Buffalo. That's from that trailing cold front. Right now, we can't see it here locally. In fact, we're seeing that rainfall exiting out in the capital region earlier this afternoon. But we zoom out, and here's that rainfall now entering the Buffalo area. It's going to take a while before it reaches our Mohawk Valley zone. So roughly between 6 to 8 p.m. when we see our initial rounds of showers, and then, of course, lingering rain heading into the overnight. We're not out of the woods of that rainfall, at least for the short term. But what it looks like is we're going to see less of a steady rain over the next couple of days and more so of these rounds of rain. We're going to break down the timing of that in a lot more detail, plus talk about that wildfire smoke and if any more is on the way in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The folks at Howe Caverns in Scotia.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. A rainy start today, but things are slowly drying up. But at least this past weekend, although it was mostly dry, something that was pretty noticeable was that wildfire smoke. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was, again, noticeable. And where is that smoke from? Let's take a look at this scan from the satellite imagery, at least from the satellite called GOES East. And this photo right here is a snapshot of one of the unique wavelengths they use to detect these fires. By the way, there's a lot more you can sense with satellites than just visible light. They tune the frequencies a little bit on the wavelengths, and they can actually detect wildfires. They don't appear like this visibly on the scans, but fires emit, of course, certain wavelengths, and this detects it. And it's pretty big. You can see the fires from space. And these fires, of course, produce a lot of smoke, and the wind direction was primed to push east and south into our area. Why has there been so many? Well, there's been a lot of fires in Canada in unfavorable wind direction patterns, at least for the past couple of years. But again, this is nothing like what happened in June of 2023, where our air quality was some of the worst in the world. AQI, the way you measure it, was around 400, 450, 500. Here locally, this over the weekend, maybe 100, 150, so it wasn't a whole lot. In terms of additional smoke, we're going to be in the clear for a couple of days. You got more of a south wind moving in, at least for today, and then more of a southwesterly wind tomorrow. Yes, there could be some passing haze, but it'll be mainly elevated. So we're out of the woods for at least notable impacts throughout the day today and for the next couple of days. A live look at our tower cam. There is still some faint haze, some that's still hugging in parts of the valleys, but again, a lot of locations, air quality much improved. Here's that frontal boundary pushing its way east, and it's raining out in Buffalo. It's going to take a while for it to reach here, but when it does, there could be some heavier rain showers at times. These are not going to be steady rainfall events for 12, 18 hours. These are more of a passing front type situation, but they still could produce a good amount of rain inside those showers. You can see the variable rainfall amounts here between anywhere from little to none to as high as 1.5 inches. So just a heads up, the next couple of days there could be some heavier downpours embedded with these fronts. In fact, we got a series of cold fronts coming in the next few days. 1, 2, and a weaker third one that follows that later on. But either way, these are going to be, again, rounds of showers and storms. So this evening, here we are, around 6 to 8 p.m., around sunset. We'll see that round of showers and storms roll through. There could be some stronger ones out in the Finger Lakes, but they're expected to weaken as they move into our area. Either way, rainy start Tuesday. We dry out in the afternoon, early afternoon with sunshine, and then by the mid-afternoon, another round of showers and storms. Then we dry up by the evening, and it looks pretty dry as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Temperatures will be in the low 70s, maybe upper 60s as we head into the weekend. So we're entering a pattern of right around average to maybe slightly below average temperatures. Either way, we're not looking at any major cool down or no major torch in the next several days. So if you're not a fan of the summertime heat and humidity, don't worry. We have pretty comfortable temperatures. I think low to mid 70s.
Yeah.
A lot of people agree is pretty nice.
Multiple cold fronts.
Yes.
Sounds like winter.
Yeah, well, I guess cooler, but still, we got some sunshine following it.
Eric, thanks. Well, a band of severe weather is impacting millions of Americans. Heavy rain and powerful winds are causing big problems from Texas to Georgia, where the dangerous storms are being blamed for at least 2 deaths over the weekend. NBC's Ryan Chandler is in Dallas, where residents there are dealing with severe flooding.
Hey there, it was a long night of severe weather here in Dallas. You can see some of these roadways are still a bit flooded with the rainwater. Some areas got up to 3 inches last night. Wind gusts getting up to 76 miles per hour in some areas around the Dallas metro. Not the 100 miles per hour that may have been feared, but still enough to pack a punch. Some downed power lines and trees reported around the region. Almost 100,000 people across Texas and Oklahoma getting knocked out of power temporarily overnight. In West Texas, we saw at least 1 tornado spinning up along the Texas-Oklahoma border. Also some massive hail moving through that region, bringing a lot of rain and a lot of wind here into the inner city. Today, 40 million people are still at risk for high winds moving out east from the East Coast down to the mid-Atlantic. Still need to be aware that wind gusts could reach up to 65 miles per hour. As for us here in Dallas, we are considering ourselves lucky for what was feared to be a very strong system. Turned out to be strong, but everybody is still safe and sound with no reported deaths or injuries today. Back to you.
NBC's Ryan Chandler reporting from Dallas. Coming up, there's growing... Meteorologist Eric Gage joining us now. And Eric, things are drying out. Maybe golfers can get out this afternoon, right?
Yeah, you got a window of dry weather. The clouds are still sticking around. You wait a couple of hours, that sun's going to peek out as well. Here's a look outside right now from our area cameras. Again, still struggling to get some peaks of sunshine here, but don't worry. Out in, say, for example, Syracuse, the sun is shining. So you wait, in fact, I would say maybe even less than an hour. You'll start to see a bit more blue and a bit less gray. Either way, it is still in the low to mid 60s here locally. Hasn't really warmed up all too much, but out to the west, 76 in Rochester and in Dansville, 71 in Ithaca, 73 in Syracuse. That warm weather is heading our way, and that sunshine also heading our way. So today's actually not going to be too bad. Rainfall is exiting to our east. We zoom out. We are looking at another round of rainfall arriving. This one will be arriving closer to sunset tonight, right around 6 to 8 p.m. And although these will likely strengthen over the Finger Lakes area, as it moves its way east, it's expected to weaken when it enters central New York. So there could be some lingering rumbles of thunder by around 6 to 8 p.m. as these showers and storms roll through, but they will weaken a little bit. We have a better shot for rainfall again tomorrow morning. And we'll look at exactly the timing of those showers because they won't be really steady. They'll be sporadic, and we'll time it out. Plus, of course, the latest on that wildfire smoke and if there's any more on the way in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. At least 2 people are dead following a shooting in...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. After a beautiful weekend for the most part, we had rain sandwiched both the start of Saturday and the end of Sunday. In between was rather nice, but we did deal with some wildfire smoke, and that cause of it way up north of Minnesota in southern Canada. In fact, the fires are so large you can actually pinpoint it on these scans here with the satellite imagery from the GOES East satellite. And it's right there. It's orange. It doesn't look like this in real life. They use different wavelengths to detect these fires, but here it is. You can see it from space. It looks to be almost a county wide. So when we mention these fires and why the smoke is persistent, doesn't go away, it's because these fires, for one, are sometimes in remote areas, or two, massive fires. And it's pretty difficult to put out a wildfire when it's the size of a county. But still, this produced some smoke in our area over the weekend. Not a whole lot of tremendous impacts, still enough to cause concern for those underlying conditions. But either way, we're going to see a bit less of that smoke in the next few days as that wind direction shifts. But we're not out of the woods with it. We'll let you know when things produce more smoke in our area. But at least when it comes to the short term, even later on this week, if we do get any, it's expected to primarily be elevated and not a lot of that reaching the ground. Live view of downtown Utica from our Cavey Tower cam. It is a dry afternoon, still rather cloudy. Any lingering drizzle is going to fade away. We zoom out though, our next round of rain out near Buffalo. It's going to take a while for this rain to reach us, but it could produce a few scattered downpours between 6 to 8 p.m. So just a heads up. In between that time, though, you have some opportunity for sunshine and dry weather. So the next few days, there's going to be some opportunity for rainfall, but also opportunity for sunshine. They're not complete washouts, but with these rain showers, some of them could produce a good amount of rain. In fact, you can see here, some spots little to none, some spots inch and a half. So depends on your location, and these showers might be producing some good amount of accumulation over the span of just a few hours. But these will be in between areas of sunshine. You can see two trailing cold fronts here, and as we time it out here in our Skycast, we got that sunshine moving in by the early evening, then those scattered thunderstorms. They could be strong out in the Finger Lakes region, then weaken. Widespread rain early Tuesday, window of sunshine by noontime, then between 2 and 4 p.m. A few more scattered thunderstorms and showers. Then we dry out as we head into Wednesday through Friday. There could be an isolated shower here and there, but much of the days will be a lot more dry. And temperatures actually not too bad as well. Low 70s, a seasonable stretch of weather. Cooling down maybe a little bit by the weekend, but no major heat wave and no major cool down. So we're just cruising along in the second week of June.
That's for sure. And today we got a nice window of dryness, right?
Yeah, good golfing weather by the mid-afternoon. Maybe do 9 holes. If you're stuck on the course for 18 and you get caught in a rainstorm, maybe not that case.
They'll be calling you.
Yeah.
Eric, thanks. Well, Sunday marked the last day.
Travel ban takes effect today, all in relation to immigration. We're going to talk more about that coming up. Time now for our first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis. And here we go again.
Yeah, we are tracking some rain this evening. The worst of this is going to pass to our north. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for Lewis County for this northern edge of activity. But again, notice how this drops off dramatically. This is all moving to the north and west. So we are going to miss out on these strong storms in the Mohawk Valley, but there will be some gusty winds across the southern valley, or the southern part of Lewis County, Turin, Lowville underneath this severe thunderstorm warning until 6 o'clock. There's been quite a bit of wind with this too. So again, this entirely passes north. This will pass even north of Rome, although the very northern part of Oneida County may feel some of these gusty winds here over the next hour or so. But again, the worst of this passes north. 73 degrees is the current temperature. Well, we're tracking, again, a few thunderstorms tonight. This first round that rolls through generally weekends. We will see a few more develop tonight and into early tomorrow. The weather starts to dry out for Wednesday, but unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be dealing with more wildfire smoke heading into Wednesday afternoon. This evening, a passing shower. Again, a couple of strong storms to the north, temperatures in the upper 60s. We're tracking, again, some active weather here this week. A look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Tonight begins week 8 of Go the Distance.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We are tracking a few stronger storms that are going to pass north of the Mohawk Valley as we head into this evening. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Lewis County until 6 o'clock. And that storm is packing wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. The storm is just starting to cross into Lewis County from the west. And again, this will impact areas, most of Lewis County, Lowville, West Huron. This is going to pass north of Boonville. Again, wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour possible. The trajectory of this storm takes it to the north and east, which means this moves north of Rome. At least the worst of this will move north of Rome, north of Utica. This will eventually track into Herkimer County if it survives the trip. We're looking at some of the atmospheric conditions in place. There's a lot less energy to the east for these storms to work with. It is a lot cooler here in central New York compared to the west, where they've been getting a lot more sunshine. But again, these storms could still impact areas north of the Mohawk Valley here over the next hour or so. The southern part of this line looks much weaker. So those of you in the Mohawk Valley and southern valleys, things look relatively quiet this evening. Additional storms will develop to the west tonight, and we will see these storms arrive later tonight and into early tomorrow. A reminder, you can always get weather alerts to your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. 73 degrees is the current temperature in downtown Utica. You can see a little bit of sunshine out there. Turned out to be a relatively gray day with rain this morning. Again, we'll get another chance of rain heading into tonight. The air quality has temporarily improved, but unfortunately the winds will align themselves to the west as we head into Wednesday, and that will blow in additional wildfire smoke from Canada. We will see a decrease in air quality, just like we saw over the weekend as we head into Wednesday afternoon. So that's something we'll be keeping an eye on. The humidity looks low over the next couple of days. It might feel a bit muggy Wednesday, but the humidity stays lower than it did over the weekend. Feeling a little bit more comfortable this week. Temperatures in the low 70s this evening. Deansboro 72, Little Falls 68, across other valleys, Cooperstown 70, Oneonta 68. We have an area of low pressure to the west that will be swinging through tonight, and that does bring a round of showers and storms. Again, a lot of this will arrive late tonight and early tomorrow morning. We start out tomorrow morning wet with temperatures in the mid-60s. This front will move to the east. The weather looks to improve. We could see a few lingering showers on Tuesday, so we'll call it an unsettled day. Things will improve weather-wise heading into Wednesday. At least we'll get a chance to dry out, but again, we're going to see a change in the air quality Wednesday afternoon. A few thunderstorms tonight, low of 62. Tomorrow, scattered storms, 74. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Hazy Wednesday, 77. Thursday and Friday look dry. Temperatures in the low 70s. We'll be dodging some showers this weekend, but the temperatures stay pretty comfortable, looking at highs near 70 both Saturday and Sunday. Showers continue into early Monday.
All right, Father's Day, too. Yeah, got to make sure the weather's good for that.
We're working on it.
All right, Bill, thank you. And we're going to, hopefully the weather will be good for Go the Distance as well. We're going to get you back to meteorologist Bill Cardis.
And the weather looking pretty nice over the weekend. Angela getting a picture of the moon last night. The moon turns full on Wednesday. It's the full strawberry moon. Hopefully Wednesday night skies will be clear. We should be able to see this. If you're trying to look for this tonight, it's going to be pretty tough because we've got clouds and even a few showers on the way. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. The severe thunderstorm warning for Lewis County has been canceled. But we are tracking some storms to the north. They are weakening as they move east. But again, we'll keep an eye on things here over the next couple of hours. We're expecting more storms to fire up. A lot of those will be arriving late tonight and into very early tomorrow. Temperatures will stay in the 70s this week. Pretty typical weather for this point in June. That's our average high is in the mid-70s, and the warmest day looks to be Wednesday. If you're taking the dog out for a walk this evening, again, if passing shower is possible, a rumble of thunder to the north, temperatures will be in the low 70s. Tonight's featured dog Yachty from Oriskany. And if you want to be part of this, head to Skycast WKTV on Facebook. This is brought to you by Nissan. Kristen, back to you.
Marquis de Lafayette.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. We are tracking some scattered showers approaching from the west. The severe thunderstorm warning that was in effect for Lewis County has been canceled. This line has shown signs of weakening. In fact, now it's not producing any measurable lightning. Before, it was there were about 30 strikes for every half hour. So this line has weakened, but it could still produce some gusty winds, locally heavy rain, and there could still be a rumble of thunder with this, especially across northern Oneida County. This is going to track to the east. We'll put a storm track on this. Again, this is mainly gusty winds heading towards Lee at 6 o'clock, western 6:21, Russia at 6:55. The southern part of this from the Thruway corridor south, there really isn't much there. It's only the northern half that's producing some heavier downpours. Now, I want to shift our view and talk about western New York. This is not our area, but this is noteworthy. There is a confirmed tornado south of Buffalo that's happening now. This is being confirmed through radar. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because this looks like it's going to be the first tornado of the year for New York State. We'll have to eventually confirm that when we get more information, but again, just based on the radar, that's one thing that we are keeping an eye on this evening. By the way, the energy that's happening out here is not in place in our area. So what's happening out here is not expected to move east. We could see a few thunderstorms late tonight, early tomorrow, but the ingredients are a little bit different here. So we're tracking mainly thunderstorms and maybe some locally heavy rain here late tonight. By the way, you can always get weather alerts on your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Live look in Oneonta, temperature of 66 degrees, cool, breezy conditions today. We are tracking a weather system that moves through tonight. I want to draw our attention back to wildfire smoke. We saw some of it over the weekend. It did affect air quality. I think we're going to see a little bit more as we head into Wednesday, with winds turning into the west, bringing Canadian wildfire smoke back to central New York Wednesday afternoon. Humidity not too bad this week, relatively low over the next couple of days. Skywatchers checking in. Bob and Clinton, 77 degrees. Barneveld, 66. Old Forge, Bill with 64. Worcester, 69. Again, showers, thunderstorms arrive tonight from the west as this area of low pressure swings through. Most of these happen overnight. Temperatures will drop into the low 60s. We start out tomorrow morning with rain. This rain will move to the east. Could see a pop-up thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures in the 70s. Thunderstorms late tonight, low of 62. Scattered showers and storms tomorrow, 74 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We do get a stretch of dry weather Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, partly sunny skies. Temperatures in the 70s, generally pleasant. Showers return over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, as well as Monday, with high temperatures near 70. We'll be right back.
First look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
A pleasant day today. We had some rain in the morning. It's been kind of a cloudy, gloomy afternoon. Sun is starting to come back out. We're keeping an eye to the west. There are some showers that are taking place. In fact, a few downpours that are moving across the northern half of Oneida County into Lewis County. These were thunderstorms. They have weakened a tremendous amount over the last hour, and they're going to continue to do so. But a couple of downpours and maybe a rumble of thunder can't be ruled out. Again, most of this tracks north of the New York State Thruway, and again, it is not producing any strong weather. Current temperature 75 degrees. So temperatures have actually jumped over the past hour, along with the humidity. We're going to be tracking a few thunderstorms here tonight. We start out tomorrow morning unsettled. We'll get a chance to dry out in the afternoon. And then I'm unfortunately tracking wildfire smoke again. We saw some of it over the weekend. I think we're going to see more of this return Wednesday, and we'll talk about when that arrives coming up. Passing shower this evening, temperatures in the upper 60s. Tracking a relatively active week ahead. A look at the forecast that's coming out. Kristen, back to you.
The Oneida County Sheriff's Office has joined.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
I'm tracking a cold front approaching from the west. It's going to produce a few showers and thunderstorms tonight. There will be a brief round of showers this evening, with the steadiest and heaviest rain showers happening north of the New York State Thruway. It's a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. These are moving northeast, and this line of downpours will affect Western at 636, Steuben at 648, Remsen 658, Woodgate at 7:12, and Ohio at 7:22. There could be some rumbles of thunder with this, but it is in the process of weakening. And for the most part, a few scattered showers will be taking place this evening. Thunderstorms to the west will eventually move east as we head into tonight. And as you can see, our radar is flagging what is a tornado warning in northern Pennsylvania. And I also want to mention, again, this is not our area, but we did see a radar confirmed touchdown in western New York about an hour ago. This was confirmed from the Doppler radar. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this would be the first tornado of New York State so far this year. And again, it happened in western New York about an hour ago. We're going to collect more details and get more information as the National Weather Service gets a survey team out on that one and gets an idea of where it touched down and how strong that was. But again, tonight, this ends up going east. It's moving into a very different environment, so it is going to weaken as it moves into our area. 75 degrees, the current temperature. The severe weather risk, again, tomorrow is relatively low. Could see a couple of thunderstorms in the afternoon. The primary concern is locally heavy rain. Of course, it's just been a generally wet weather pattern throughout the course of the spring. By the way, you can get weather alerts to your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Live look in Oneonta, 70 degrees. We are tracking some wildfire smoke. We dealt with it over the weekend. The winds turn into the west, and more Canadian wildfire smoke looks to arrive on Wednesday. The levels look similar to what we saw over the weekend. Whitesboro, 73 degrees. Old Forge, 64. 70 in Cooperstown, 69 in Edmundston. Low pressure moves in from the west tonight, producing showers and thunderstorms late tonight. Overnight lows drop down into the low 60s. A few rumbles of thunder could wake you up overnight. We start out tomorrow morning with rain. The rain heads to the east. Could see a pop-up thunderstorm in the afternoon. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Thunderstorms late tonight, a low of 62. Scattered storms tomorrow, 74 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Partly sunny skies Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but again, some air quality issues to track Wednesday. Showers return over the weekend, temperatures in the upper 60s, showers on Monday with highs in the low 70s. We'll be right back.
Time now for a first look at the forecast. We bring in Chief Meteorologist Bill Kardis. We talked about the storms on the way, but this was what happened earlier this evening in the Buffalo area?
Yeah, this is about an hour and a half south of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Our first confirmed tornado of the year for New York State. This is Great Valley, Jim Curtis, the tornado damage that happened. This was confirmed from radar.
And the house is gone.
Yeah, there's some structural damage, some tree damage. There's a lot of different pictures. Jim Curtis that shared this along with some drone video. But again, this is number one of the year. Hopefully that's the only one, but unfortunately, I don't think that's probably going to be the case here going forward, just statistically. Live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We are tracking some thunderstorms working in from the west. These are weakening, and the storm that produced that tornado has fizzled out. There's more that's developed to the west, but that storm in particular is gone. We will be tracking some thunder, some lightning tonight. For now, it's 65 degrees and clear at Griffiths and Rome, but again, those storms will be rolling in. Overnight lows will drop down into the low 60s tonight, and you're going to want to run the fan, maybe the air conditioner, a little bit of humidity in the air. So we're tracking some unsettled weather for tomorrow, along with the return of wildfire smoke. I've got to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. The Syracuse area man who killed
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Kardis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We're looking at a line of showers and thunderstorms approaching from the west. This is producing lightning. If you're looking in the western sky, you might be able to see a few flashes of this as this approaches. It is weakening, but not fast enough. Strongest part of this line could produce some gusty winds, locally heavy rain, and again, flashes of lightning, particularly along and north of the New York State Thruway. That looks to be the strongest part of this line. As this moves east, it does weaken. It's running into much more stable air, but I just don't think it's going to weaken quickly enough. Severe weather risk tomorrow afternoon, not much. We're thinking maybe some gusty winds, some locally heavy rain. It looks like we're going to be tracking another round by the afternoon. A reminder, you can always get weather alerts on your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Tonight, this is probably going to give you lightning notifications and heavy rain notifications if that line survives by the time it heads to your location. So we have this cold front that rolls through. It's going to change the wind direction, and unfortunately, that means it brings wildfire smoke back. There's wildfire smoke in Canada from a bunch of fires that have been raging for the past couple of weeks. And a piece of this will be making its way back into central New York based on the wind direction. We get some very light changes in air quality tomorrow, but I think you notice this a lot more heading into Wednesday afternoon. It's not expected to be severe, not like the June 2023 levels, but it could be as much as what we saw over the weekend, where the levels were high enough where some people could smell smoke, and folks that are very sensitive to this could really notice this over the weekend. I think that's what we're talking about this time around. But of course, we'll keep an eye on things. And unfortunately, as long as those fires continue, we will be having to deal with this again in the future. Humidity doesn't look too bad this week. That is one positive. We're tracking a cold front approaching from the west. Again, some thunderstorms will be rolling through tonight. Overnight lows will drop down into the mid-60s. Tomorrow, it's a wet start to the day. Showers around in the morning. We'll get some dry weather in the afternoon, a few breaks of sunshine, the chance of a pop-up storm. Temperatures climb into the mid-70s. A few thunderstorms tonight, low of 62. Scattered storms tomorrow, 74 for the high. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast, sunshine Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Temperatures in the low 70s. Showers return over the weekend, temperatures in the upper 60s. A chance of rain showers on Monday with highs in the low 70s. We'll be right back.
And it's time now for a first look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Kardis. Before we get to the rain that's coming through our area, I want to talk about what happened out in Buffalo, just south of Buffalo earlier this evening.
Yeah, we had our first New York State tornado of the year. This happened in western New York. This was confirmed first by radar, and then we got the damage reports. This is the damage in Great Valley, New York, so about an hour south of Buffalo. Jim Curtis, you can see the tornado damage here. Things are falling in different directions, so it made it a little bit different than some of the damage that we saw locally from those storms a few weeks ago.
This not coming here. Not happening.
Well, it's the same system, but the storm that did this is gone. So we've got a different round of storms coming in.
There you go.
Not producing tornadoes. We have no severe warnings in effect for our area. We are going to watch the line as we always do for any surprises. But again, right now, everything is non-severe. We're going to get some heavy rain with this. You can get some rumbles of thunder. Could see some gusty winds. But again, at the moment, there's nothing concerning with this as is approaching our area. And it's also moving into a weaker environment, too. So this should continue to weaken as it goes east. 66 degrees, the temperature at Griffiths and Rome, reporting some rain at the moment. Tonight, overnight lows will drop into the low 60s. We're tracking a cold front for tomorrow, another chance for storms. I'm also tracking a return to wildfire smoke from Canada. I'll let you know when that arrives and what that could bring. A look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. The Syracuse area.
Anyone tell me what time it is? Catherine.
It's time for the $100,000 miracle drawing.
That's right. Addison.
It's time to raise money to help kids just like us at the MVHS.
That's correct. I think it's also time to introduce some new local champions.
It's me, Gabby. I'm a local champion.
Hi, my name is Miracle. I just have one question for you.
What's that?
Did you get your ticket yet?
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Kardis.
Good evening. Welcome back. We are tracking a line of showers and a few rumbles of thunder moving into central New York. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. We do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings or any severe weather in our area, but we are getting some heavy rain. We're getting some rumbles of thunder being detected. We had lightning strike just to the west of Old Forge in Lewis County. We also have a few rumbles of thunder and lightning detected just south of Syracuse. But again, this line moves in, some gusty winds. This is producing some flooding in western New York, but not expecting this to happen locally. This is weakening as it moves east. The environment in our area just isn't conducive to the strong weather that took place to the west today. So again, we'll continue to watch this as it moves through, but we're not expecting any strong weather as this moves on by. You can expect some heavy rain tonight. You can expect a few rumbles of thunder. We'll see another round of this tomorrow as a cold front approaches from the west. Our severe weather risk is looking pretty low in our area. A reminder, you can always get weather warnings on your phone by downloading our Storm Tracker 2 weather app. Tonight, you might see this go, you might get a few notifications as this heavy rain moves in. It'll tell you if really heavy rain is approaching or if there's any lightning strikes nearby. In addition to the rain, we're also tracking a return of Canadian wildfire smoke. And the reason why is the wind direction changes. The wildfires are still burning. It's been going on for the past couple of weeks. We saw this over the weekend. Tomorrow, another round moves in. It looks relatively light, but as the winds turn into the west, the smoke starts to thicken up. Looking at some of the data and just comparing it to what happened over the weekend, this looks pretty similar to what we saw over the weekend in terms of the air quality issues. It's not June 2023. It's not the same thing. It doesn't look to be that bad, but it could still impact our area and it could cause some issues, especially to folks that are sensitive to changes in air quality. Muggy conditions on Wednesday, otherwise the humidity stays in check. Heading into tonight, again, showers and a few rumbles of thunder. This will roll through tonight. Overnight lows drop into the low 60s. Showers around tomorrow morning. Temperatures climb into the 70s in the afternoon. Could see a shower or thunderstorm later in the day, and then we'll get a chance to dry out as we head into the middle of the week. Thunderstorms tonight, low of 62. Scattered storms tomorrow, 74. I don't know why I just went backwards there. Let's go forwards.
There you go.
That's Monday. 7-day forecast. The weather does look to dry out Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We will be dealing with some air quality issues. Again, Wednesday, could that last into Thursday and Friday? TBD. We try to take smoke in 2-day increments because it all depends on where it's coming from and how those fires are behaving. We just don't know that. We take it day by day.
It is, and the winds can shift like that.
Yeah, the winds are a lot more predictable than how is the fire going to change. Is it going to get worse?
That's a
is
great
it going to get better? How are they taking care of it? That's very hard to predict.
Well,
the
that's
winds are actually
the
a lot
thing. Is
easier.
winds. Yeah, that's your thing. It's like you can't predict how the fire is going to flare up. Or
It
not.
all depends on what the fire is doing in the next 2 days.
All right, we'll be watching for it. Thank you, Bill. Coming up next.